of the things that I've noticed that I think it's in a legitimate effort to try to communicate to people how effective filters are, but it's become the norm, and, long ago, and it continues, that charts showing the percentage of particular contaminants being removed at a particular rate, is common, and the human mind likes that. It's just tell me how much it will take out. Well, unfortunately, and I'm probably making it more complex before I simplify it, which I will get to, I promise, but one thing is that charts about percentages that different contaminants are removed can be helpful and indicative, but people should not take it as gospel that that's what's going to happen in their home, or that that's what's going to happen in their home over time. Not all, but most tests are done in a lab. Obviously, it has to be, by definition, a controlled setting. And usually the filters are new. Maybe they're a couple months old to get a little more of a sense of it. But what's it going to be like in your house after you've been using a filter for 10 months or something isn't really addressed by those charts particularly. Again, they can be indicative and give you some sense, but the reality that you described very well, Kim, is that there's all kinds of things in the water, and it changes location to location and day to day. How could one ever even know how those chemicals are interacting with one another?
That's a more disturbing question.
Yeah. So here's hopefully a way to, narrow it and simplify it a bit. Our recommended solution is to get water filtration that targets the categories of contaminants that we do find in the water. And there are some contaminants that require more filter material than others to remove them, and we can address that in a minute. But in general, they fall into, sediment, odor, taste, chemically-based contaminants, and organic-based contaminants. And so what we recommend is filters that work on those categories of contamination and try to get as much filter material as you can on those categories that are properly balanced in a system, so that whatever is, thrown at you through your water, you have a protection against. So it's a little more meaningful to me than to just say, 88% of X contaminant is taken out. Well, maybe one day, maybe the next day it combined with something else. Maybe 10 months later your filter's getting tired and it's not taking out as much, So there's less certainty about it than we would all feel comfortable with. But it is pretty much a fact that the more filter material you have, assuming the right type of filter material in good quality, the more filter material you have, the more filtration and protection you'll get.
Let's talk a little bit about the shower filters.
Okay.
And I also want to bring in the fact that people are very concerned about the radiation, not only the chemicals, both synthetic and organic, that they're taking in when they're showering, but also the fact that there's radiation in the water supply. And my question to you is, what's your take on it? I know there's radiation water filters for drinking, but is that available for shower filters?
Not really. At least I haven't been able to find any. If we build this on the last comment, that the more filter material you have, the higher level of protection you'll get, almost by definition, a shower filter doesn't have as much filter material as a kitchen filter does. And therefore, it's harder to take out as much of the contamination as many. We'll go in two directions here, but to start, we'll just talk about the shower filters for a minute. It's worth a mention here that friendsofwater.com was founded by my wife, Lalana, and myself, and we're completely independent, and we can and do sell those products that we believe are the best, and well made and well backed. So the shower filters that we sell, our manufacturing partner has a patented process whereby the filter material, which is called KDF, which is a really great filter material made of copper and zinc, that material is powderized and shaped into what looks like a woven hockey puck. And the net effect, because of the change in the filter material and the way the water moves through the filter material, is a greatly increased contact time between the filter and the media, which is how filtration happens. And so their in-house tests have said that the actual effectiveness for the same size filter is increased by 8, so a factor of 8. So the shower filters, if they're available in chlorine or chloramine versions, and we will describe that for you in a minute. But they virtually eliminate chlorine and reduce other contaminants. You can't count on it to take out all the radiation. They're good at taking out heavy metals, and that will be a help. And it'll reduce lime scale and things like that you don't need in your water. But the biggest risk, radiation is something we're all still learning about, unfortunately. Huh? But
yes.
We're still working on that, and I don't see a true radiation shower filter coming out immediately. If we put radiation on a shelf for a second, however, the greatest risk at the shower and in the bath is chlorine or chloramine.
And I want you to explain now, because we're there, the distinction between chlorine and chloramine, and bring the audience into that distinction.
Chloramine, which is found in more and more municipalities now, is formed when the municipalities add ammonia to the water, which forms together with chlorine to form the new chloramines. And the biggest reason they're doing is the EPA said to reduce trihalomethanes, which are a byproduct of chlorine. The EPA didn't particularly recommend or suggest chloramines. They just said that the water supply places should work on reducing trihalomethanes. Unfortunately, although chloramine does produce fewer trihalomethanes, the byproducts, there's nothing to suggest that the net result is any healthier for people. And in fact, we're in a position to talk to people all the time about these issues. Lots of people are having problems with chloramine that are actually more readily visible, apparent, I should say, than chlorine, which, works longer over term. People are having a lot of problems, many people are, that most of which have to do with the skin or breathing. The most extreme case we've heard of is a place in Texas that apparently is struggling getting the level under control. I don't know why that would be, but the chloramine levels seem to be spiking.
How does the public find out whether they have chlorine or chloramine in their water?
It really is easy. You just get the phone number on your water bill and call and ask them. They're happy to tell you. I think they're legally required to as well, but, they'll tell you. They're doing, they're trying to disinfect the water, so they think it's a good thing, and they're shifting to chloramines means a reduction in trihalomethanes, so, they'll provide that information. They won't, in most cases, tell you proactively about it. However, Lee comes to mind, who, was through a discussion with me that she learned that she should check, and was surprised to learn that Portland, Oregon has chloramines because they don't have fluoride. So So you really need to check. And those are the two questions to ask a municipality. Is it chlorine or chloramine?